You know you're starting to get older when you begin to re-review things that you've already reviewed in the past. In today's episode of Erudite Magic, we are going to be covering The Card Magic of Nick Trost. This review is going to be unusual for a couple of reasons. One is that I've already reviewed this book back in June of 2020, back when the channel was just in its infancy. The other reason that this review is unusual is because the book, the reprint, isn't actually out yet. But let's rewind the tape a little bit and get you caught up with what this book is, how it came to be, why it's being reprinted, and some other information that I think is pertinent to our discussion. Nick Trost was an Ohio magician, and I say was because he passed away a number of years ago. But Nick is an Ohio legend in the world of magic. He started back in 1955 publishing his own material through The Linking Ring, and then in 1961 he started to put material into The New Tops via his own column. He wrote that column for 33 years all the way through December of 1994. Along the way, he also published some of his own books, packet tricks, and a lot of other things that people know him for today. He partnered with L&L back in 1997 to bring us this book. This is effectively a best of Nick Trost material during the period that we just talked about. It's a hardback book with over 325 pages. We'll get more into the contents in a second, but this is just kind of the overview to let you know where this book came from. This book was in print for quite some time, retailed originally for $45, and there was a period of time where it was also an ebook sold by L&L Publishing after it went out of print. Of course, with the dissolution of L&L Publishing and then the different bits and pieces being sold off, Penguin Magic acquired the rights to The Card Magic of Nick Trost, and they are now reprinting it. One of the things that makes this review a little bit unique is that the book hasn't officially been re-released. They've announced it. They've even put it on their website that it is expected back on April 15th. So I wanted to get a little bit ahead of this, tell you about the book so that you could make some informed decisions when it actually gets back in stock. While this book was out of print, there was really only one place I would recommend that people go to find a copy for a reasonable price, and that was with the sponsor of this week's episode, Don's Magic and Books. See, Don specializes in finding older and out-of-print books and then offering them back out to the magic community at an extremely reasonable price. Yes, he carries all of the latest and greatest books, the newest stuff that you would expect to find at any reputable magic dealer, but what really sets him apart is being able to find some of these gently used books that just need a new home in a magic library. So if that's you wanting to build your magic library up, shop with Don via the link I'm going to drop down in the description below. Don and I have been friends for many years now, and I really love how much he focuses on magic books, and I know you will too. Not only does he have great prices on everything, he also offers fast and free shipping if you meet minimum thresholds in the United States. So no matter what kind of magic book you're looking for, shop with Don's Magic and Books this week. So what can you expect in a book like this? If you don't already know the name Nick Trost, he's known for his easy-to-do card magic. Many of you will know him for his Subtle Card Creation series, which now spans a massive 9 volumes, but this was an earlier book, and as I mentioned previously, is a best of from the period of, let's say, 1955 or the 60s all the way through 1994. As indicated by the title, it is strictly card magic. But there is quite a variety of the different types of card magic you'll find in this book. There are 17 chapters and an appendix we're going to talk about in just a second. The first 12 chapters are all magic with regular playing cards. The subsequent 4 chapters deal with prepared cards, so you require a few gimmicks, so you need to make some specialty cards, packet tricks, or even ESP cards. Chapter 13, you'll need special decks, so there are things that go into that, but he'll teach you how to make them. Chapter 14 deals with double-backed cards. Chapter 15 is packet tricks, so there are a lot of specialty cards that you'll need to make there, half-backers or mispipped faces, blank-backed, you get the idea. And then chapter 16 is special deck gambling routines, which will require you to put together a deck. The final chapter, chapter 17, deals with ESP cards. Those are the chapter headings, but there is so much variety within this book. In fact, you're getting 122 different tricks. And when I say that, tell you the page count, it should be apparent that Nick doesn't waste a lot of words pumping up the trick or getting wordy with his explanations. It is short, sweet, and to the point. You'll get exactly what you need, and it will be up to you to more or less develop your own presentation. That said, he does give you the inspirations, and he took inspiration from a lot of different places. I think it's really cool that he mentions where he saw the original and then often will tell you who has taken this trick and gone further with it. What I think that also means is that you see that it's not just self-working magic that no one's interested in. In fact, as an example, if we look at the second trick in the book, it's called the 7-card count, which is not a particularly inspiring name, but it's basically a self-working version of the 6-card repeat. But at the end of the write-up here, he explains Paul Harris took this principle and turned it into another trick that we now know as Las Vegas Leaper. Now, this trick ended up later being on 2 different videos, the Stars of Magic Paul Harris video and the Easy to Master Card Miracles by Michael Amar. Not only that, Harry Lorraine and Doug Edwards collaborated to take this principle and make it into another variation of the trick. So you're getting the idea. This isn't boring magic that maybe your uncle did for you. This is real life workable material. There is a good bit of variety and there's plenty to choose from, but I'll also tell you there's a Midwest flavor to all of this that may not work for everyone in today's world. For example, there are tricks with pinochle or euchre, canasta, gin rummy, bridge. That's certainly not the majority of the effects, but most of us are going to be limited in the ways that we can apply those routines if you don't live in an area where people are playing these card games. There are a lot of really clever applications, and even though Nick Trost was introduced to sleight of hand early on, Stuart Judah was one of his influences to help him pick out subtleties, and that became kind of his calling card. I've talked about some of the contents, but I want to draw your attention to the back of the book, the appendix of sleights. Because of the simple nature of the tricks and then this section, it makes it a great book for someone who's maybe just starting out in magic. Because in the back, he's going to explain most of the sleights that you'll need to perform the tricks in the book. He teaches you things like the Biddle move, the Browie addition, Browie reversal, even a breather crimp, a Charlie A shuffle, the crisscross force, the cut deeper force, how to perform a double undercut, even the Elmsley count. There are tricks with size stebbins, and he gives you a way to set it up, and this is still the way that I prefer to set up my decks if I'm going to use something requiring size stebbins. The Simon Prophecy card move, a Svengali shuffle, and the Tenkai optical reversal. That's not an exhaustive list, but it just gives you the idea of the kinds of sleights and subtleties that you're going to learn in the book so that then you can go out and do the magic that he's teaching you. He was really well known for his pack of tricks, and he squeezed a lot of magic out of just a few cards. So if you're into that style of magic with just a few cards in your hands where you can get all the faces to change and the backs to change and just strange stuff happening, there's a lot to like there as well. I think it's clear that the beginner would benefit from this, but I'm sure most of you are wondering, as an intermediate or someone who has an established library, would you like a book like this? And my answer is absolutely. You're going to learn a lot of classic effects, and if you don't go and look at anything else, there are a couple tricks that I think are just great. His 8-card Brainwave is one that I've done for a long time. It's just so simple and easy to do, but a ton of fun. His automatic lie speller was considered by Marlowe to be one of the best lie detector type routines that he had ever seen. And don't overlook some of the basics. The very first trick in the book, the observation test, is a great color changing deck, and I've recently brought this back into my friends and family repertoire. The bottom line is that there is magic here for everyone, and if you already know a lot of sleights and are past the self-working stage, cool, because now you can add sleights, false shuffles, and other things that make these tricks even more deceptive. And as I've mentioned before, there are other ways to adapt some of these tricks. For example, if you use a mem deck, there are tricks that will work better with a mem deck than they would in the original write-up. Now, at the time that I'm doing this video, I don't actually know what the new book looks like. I have the earlier edition, but my understanding is that there's nothing really changing. As far as the price, I also don't know that. So this is an intellectually honest discussion about the worth of this book. Back when it was first printed, it was $45, and for a long time, Penguin sold it for $34. Which I think is a steal for what you're getting. 122 tricks, an appendix of sleights and subtleties, and some really great card magic. If the price remains at $45, I think you need to snap this up immediately. It would be very deserving of a spot in your library at that price. However, I assume that the price will go up. I don't know that for a fact, but I would say I could see this book going for $60. That's a complete guess. It could be more, it could be less, but I think that represents a pretty good value proposition. If it's all the way up to $70, sure, I could see that. There's a lot of tricks in here, even though it is an older text. And we've already seen that with the reprints of the Barry Richardson books, those were at one point $45, and they jumped up to $70 with the reprint. So we'll see. It might be interesting to get your feedback. Sound off down below with what you think the price should be when it comes out. There are a few people who are going to look down on Nick Trost magic because it's so easy to do and doesn't require a lot of dexterity. But I think that that's a mistake to look past the simple genius of the Nick Trost routines. I'm excited for everyone to be able to get this again, and this is an easy recommendation for me. I want to say thank you to everyone who's already subscribed to the Erudite Magic Digest. This is my weekly newsletter where I'm able to share with you books that are coming back into print, lessons that I'm learning, or even cool tricks that I'm finding or writing up myself. If you haven't already, you can use the link down in the description below to sign up for that. It is free, and I look forward to sharing more magic with you every week. As always, my friends, I appreciate you watching. And until next time, keep reading.